As an investor in General Motors, I own $10 of General Motors stock. I would be asking Mary Barra a serious question here. Why are you advertising EVs in Norway when you don't sell them there and don't plan to sell them there? Now, Ford, and to some degree Tesla, are piggybacking off General Motors' advertising spend to sell their electric cars in Norway. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I've made videos in the past about General Motors and other EV manufacturers helping Tesla. Something that's been pointed out by the media is that on Google Trends, you can see there was an enormous spike in traffic to Tesla's website the day that GM and other automakers advertised at the Super Bowl. In fact, Tesla had more traffic and more Google searches for Tesla EVs on the day of the Super Bowl, when everyone else except Tesla advertised electric cars. Now, GM has made a habit of doing this, advertising cars it doesn't have in places it doesn't sell them now. Well, not a lot of people pick this up, but General Motors actually ran this whole advertising campaign using celebrities who they paid lots of money to talk about Norway and EVs in Norway. Now, GM doesn't plan on selling EVs in Norway. So Ford's gone, hey, we'll use this. Thank you very much, GM. Now, before I get to the Ford story, I should point out, by far the largest manufacturer of EVs, by far the biggest seller of EVs, and by far the biggest seller of cars, period, in Norway is Tesla. It owns more than 20% market share this year. As major automakers ramp up competition for the growing electric vehicle market all around the world, in particular in the United States, GM started a No Way Norway campaign. Now, Ford is using GM's campaign to sell its electric F-150 Lightning in Norway. The Blue Oval recently announced its latest Norwegian electric vehicle plans. It sells the Mustang Mach-E there. Now it's going to sell the F-150 Lightning in Norway as well. But getting back to General Motors, where all this started. General Motors started their No Way Norway campaign with an ad spot during the 2021 Super Bowl. The video featured comedian Will Ferrell and his friends, portrayed by Kenan Thompson and some other dude whose name I can't pronounce, who set out for Norway on a bizarre and absurd mission to give the Scandinavian nation a thorough scolding for being ahead of the US in EV adoption. Now, GMAuthority.com says that this ad featured the GMC Hummer EV pickup and the Cadillac Lyriq. And even 2 years later, General Motors still doesn't mass produce either of those vehicles. Now, reports are that apparently a lot of people who place a pre-order for a Cadillac Lyriq have just given up waiting because it's taking so long, and they've actually gone and ordered a Tesla Model Y or something like that. For some bizarre reason, the media doesn't report on this. They only report on things like the Tesla Cybertruck being delayed. Now, GM chose Norway as the focus for its ad campaign because electric vehicles are very popular in Norway, with electric vehicles comprising 2/3 of Norwegian new car sales in that same year in 2021. Well, now they comprise around 85%. GM Authority says that the humorous No Way Norway ad was the General's first advertisement since 2009, advertising GM as a whole rather than one of its brands. And a longer ad followed up, which cost General Motors a lot of money to run through distribution of GM Cadillac EVs. In Europe, a longer ad followed that was made by GM and probably cost them a lot of money to run. However, distribution of General Motors EVs in Europe is a long way off if it ever happens. Now, part of the reason it's not likely to ever happen is because GM has pretty much gotten rid of most of its dealer network in Europe, and it barely sells cars there now. It's focusing on North America and China, although China is being problematic for General Motors recently and for every legacy automaker that is based outside of China. I'll put a link in the description below to my video about that. Now, Ford soon responded to the No Way Norway campaign with a tweet poking fun at General Motors and a brief video showing the Ford Mustang Mach-E crossover delivering pizzas in Oslo, including to the Norwegian Parliament. However, now Ford is using GM's money, their well-spent money, was it well spent? Piggybacking on the spotlight GM made with that No Way Norway campaign and using Norway's EV adoption to advertise and market the F-150 Lightning in Europe. They're starting with Norway. Ford Norway Managing Director Per Gunnar says he has had customers literally banging on his door and pleading to bring the electric pickup truck to Norway. Gunnar added, F-150 Lightning is the perfect match for many customers in Norway, with its mix of eco-friendliness and adventurousness. Ford points out EVs now account for 80% of Norwegian new vehicle sales. In fact, it's more than that now, up from 2/3 when the Norway campaign first started. How long will it be until the entire car market in Norway is fully electric? Well, the way things are heading, maybe a year and a half. 2025, pretty likely. It could even happen next year. Ford is already accepting orders from Norway for a limited release of the F-150 Lightning Lariat Launch Edition truck, and deliveries are planned for 2024. The special Ford F-150 Lightning pickups will wear anti-matter blue exterior paint, which I think actually looks pretty good. They will be sold through Ford's network of 70 Norwegian dealerships. Now, Ford says one of the advantages that it has over Tesla in Norway is its dealership network. That may be true, but from what I can see, Ford sales are very costly for it in Norway. I mean, it has an insane number of dealerships for the number of sales it gets. I don't know how it makes a profit in Norway, considering the number of dealerships versus sales. I made a video about that. I'll put a link in the description to that video. For me, the numbers just don't add up, but who knows? The Blue Oval's Ford F-150 Lightning comes to Norway. Video shows the truck speeding through snowy Norwegian mountains, intercut with scenes of the driver skiing, including on a ski slope illuminated by lights, using the F-150 Lightning's vehicle to load adapter as a power source. So you can actually use the F-150 Lightning as just a giant battery if you want to for your house. It's even advertised that way, which is a pretty cool feature. Now, what is Ford doing here? To be serious, come on. Why are they even bothering? I don't understand what the point is with Ford here. Ford just fired 3,000 people in Europe. It's significantly reducing its operations in Europe. I mean, does it really make sense for Ford to sell the F-150 Lightning in Europe? I don't personally understand why they'd bother. I mean, countries like, say, Canada, surely they have a bigger market in Canada. What about Australia? I mean, Australians love pickup trucks. They're desperate for them. Australia already imports thousands and thousands of pickup trucks from the US and actually goes to all the effort of removing the steering wheel and putting it on the other side of the car, making all the changes involved that are needed to do that. There's a big effort. There's countries around the world that love pickup trucks. Norway isn't really one of them. I'm not really sure what Ford's strategy is in Europe, but I recently made a video showing the 5 reasons that Ford sales have declined by more than 50% in Europe recently. I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Bye-bye.